Dig deep, Casey. Be a man.
Seriously.
Something like that.
It's true, though.
But
How was your night's rest?
Amazing.
They're going to say, did you see Julie McQueen? She was hammered. When she gets drunk, she looks like a dude.
Like, it looks like it's
Come on,
unlocked.
Aaron. You can figure it out.
I'll come across Brent and smack the shit out of you after I stretch.
We are very blessed today to have our special guest, Miss Julie McQueen. Say hi, Julie.
Oh, hello.
Yeah.
That's probably better.
Yeah, it's better.
Did you say it was Viagra that gave you a heart attack?
It gave me a first heart attack when I was 21.
All right.
Whatever. Anyway.
One does not simply walk into Mordor.
I am very system. And it was the Cialis that got me at 28.
nobody says Louisville, man.
That's right. Thank you, Sean.
You know, and I'm looking right here. I see a bunch of positive people.
It looks like the Mountain Ops booth is the place to be.
Yeah, seriously.
You know?
One of us is going to die. And his D-loop's like it's like a shiitake mushroom. Things like
This old highway's getting longer. I was self-taught, yeah.
Hey, you're one of those people that piss me off.
Only Bowman cast.
I know. Seriously.
Bowman podcast.
It's like
when there's carbon in the air, there's hope.
You're like really close to my comfort zone here, though. I'll take that as a compliment.
often.
Hey, everybody. Daniel Lee Martin here with Julie McQueen and the Gritty Bowmen and his baby brother.
This is Cameron Haynes, and you're watching the Gritty Bowmen.
I'm Brandon Bates. He's Easton Corbett. You're listening to the Gritty Bowmen Show.
What he said.
This is Wishes for Warriors, and you're watching the Gritty Bowmen Show.
Oh, yeah.
Hi, I'm Eva Shockey, and you are listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
Hello, all right. You're listening to the Gritty Bowmen, home of gritty bow hunting films, interviews, tall tales, and a wee bit of manly boasting.
I'm South Cox, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
This is Tim Burnett with Solo Hunter, and you're listening to my favorite podcast, The Gritty Bowmen. Let me ask you this. What's the number one thing that has killed Facebook for you?
The fact that they want to charge me for every
Advertiser,
Yeah.
people cramming product down your throat. Here's my thoughts on it. If you're looking to make a few bucks, put it for sale. If you want to get your name and the brand out there and reach the most amount of people, give it for free. How many of you guys out there listening to this, raise your hands, how many of you guys would wear a Gritty Bowmen t-shirt and hat?
On this episode of Gritty Bowmen, we hang out with my new friend Tim Burnett of Solo Hunter. I'm a huge fan of Solo Hunter. If you don't like the show, I don't know what's wrong with you. Solo Hunter is gritty. The raw, do-it-yourself nature of the show really appeals to me. In the show, Tim and Remi Warren are both the hunter and the cameraman. That's intense. I can barely film a hunt when we've got a full-time cameraman. I can't even imagine trying to pull it off while trying to shoot an animal. Tim was easy to talk to, and he's pretty much the same guy you see on the show. Real gritty and down to earth.
If you like the show, please go to our website at grittybowmen.com and subscribe to this podcast and tell your mates and pals about us. Do us a favour and please take a moment to leave us a rating or a review on iTunes or on our YouTube channel. Send your questions and podcast ideas to grittybowmen@gmail.com. If you're listening to this on iTunes, you can see the video version of this podcast on our website at www.grittybowmen.com.
Welcome to the Gritty Bowmen podcast. I am here with Tim Burnett, a solo hunter, and I'm pretty stoked for this conversation because I am a big fan of Solo Hunter. And I'm not just saying that because you're here. I like the show. I've been watching it, I don't know, for a long time.
Right.
And I'm checking it out on YouTube, and that's really where I don't watch hunting TV much, which I've been very candid with everyone I've interviewed.
It turns out you and the rest of everybody else out there, you know?
I don't really watch hunting TV, and so the fact that it was on YouTube, for me, it connected with me because I just don't do a lot of TV, and so I came across it, loved it, and have just devoured all the episodes in a row up to where what you've got there. And I'm always checking, following my YouTube feed, going, and been a little stingy, it seems like lately on some of the shows.
Well, it's not my. That's the thing that stinks about you. Like, I love YouTube, man. I mean, it's and I love being able to the digital format.
Yeah.
But having the contracts with the networks, like, they limit us on the amount of time of when we can release an actual full episode, and they would like to see it longer. Like, they want 2 and 3 years behind. So everything that you've watched on TV is stuff that I filmed over like a year and a half to 2 years ago.
Really?
So that's what's the frustrating part is like I really want people to see the new stuff.
Yeah.
But I know everything that I filmed this fall, you're not going to see for a year and a half. And times are changing. I mean, one day we won't need the networks. I mean, I love television, but it's just the reality. If they don't get on board and create their own digital platform, stuff's going to change.
Yeah. No, there's no barrier to market for me. I started a podcast. I put it on YouTube, iTunes, other outlets, Stitcher, whatever.
Yeah, the great thing with television is, I'm reaching millions of households every week. So as far as for the advertisers go or for my own brand, like, you're reaching massive amounts of people. When that show goes to air, the orders just hammer. And so it works for a reason. It just has that distribution platform. With digital, there's really no central platform out there that's going to get everybody out there that has that many eyeballs.
Yeah, no, there's not.
So television's always going to be power. I'll always be there as long as the networks want me.
Yeah.
And but we're really focusing on the digital side too.
Well, so. I had a question for you. A lot of those shows like Meat Eater, they're offering it for download at like VHX.
Yep.
And yours come out for free on YouTube.
I have VHX too for the guys that want it now. Like, you could go and get all the new current episodes now. But I have a thing. I had a conversation with a kid earlier. Like, we were talking about an event that I did last year where guys paid money to come and hunt with me at an event in Camel Cameras. And I'm like, I felt so dirty about that event because I wanted to be able to do it for free,
Yeah.
But we couldn't. So that's the thing with YouTube is, like, and guys that know me, if somebody asks for a hat, I'm giving them a hat. If somebody wants a rifle cover, I'm giving them a rifle cover. I just feel like I want to give them to people because
it seems like that's one thing I liked about it.
Cool.
Okay, I can go on YouTube, catch all those shows after the fact. I've toyed around with some filming my own hunts. I put a film in the Full Draw Film Tour last year. I submitted one this year. I also have films I'm putting together that I want to sell to the Gritty Bowmen listeners. I want to say, hey, folks, these are the hunts we did in 2015 or whatever, and sell them. Not for a lot, but just to help pay for the podcast and stuff like that.
Maybe you throw up a VHX channel or something, and offer them that way.
And I want to do that. At the same time, some of my films are like, I want them to be available to the non-hunter because they mean a lot to me, and I want them to influence people a certain way. That's why I want to share that. I want to entertain, but I also really want to, like, influence. And when I put it in, when I put it for sale, only people who actually buy it will see it.
Here's my thoughts on it. If you're looking to make a few bucks, put it for sale. If you want to get your name and the brand out there and reach the most amount of people, give it for free. I did a podcast with Joe Rogan a year and a half ago or whatever. That's one of the things that he told me. He's like, because we had talked about charging for his podcast or all those kind of ideas that he had. And he's like, my philosophy is the more free you give out, more you can do for people for free, the more you're going to make on the back end because people are more supportive of the brand.
Yeah.
The more they're going to see it. Like, for every rifle cover I give away to somebody on the mountain, I'll sell a couple of dozen of them. It comes back. So it's just like the podcast. Podcast is free, and that's why your podcast has grown. I've heard some pretty good numbers that is popular, and there's a reason why I like to listen to your podcast more than just your mannerisms and the guests that you've had and those kind of things. But, like, I feel like the more you can give it to somebody, the more it's going to return. Even on the philanthropic side.
Yeah. Well, and trying to make money off of this stuff, that's been tricky. Like you said, you feel a little dirty.
Let me ask you this. What's the number one thing that has killed Facebook for you?
The fact that they want to charge me for every
advertiser, people cramming product down your throat.
I'm done with Facebook. I mean, I'm on it, but I'm not really, especially for personal use. I kind of use it, but
But when it was free, when there was not that much advertising, it was just a free communication with like-minded people. Like, it's brilliant. That's what's so awesome about Instagram.
And it makes me wonder. I don't know how well they're making money anymore. Like you said, on the back end, like I studied podcasting, and there were some people who offer a subscription, right? Like anybody who wants to hear the podcast. And all the guys that had done that were like, yeah, I made a bunch of money on the front end.
Yeah.
But I lost 100,000 listeners who would have loved it and then repaid me in a different way.
That's the way I look at it. Is if you're charging for something, you're going to make some money. People are going to buy it.
Yeah.
You know, whether it's a DVD, VHX, whatever it is, you're going to make some money. But I'm in this business to make money, but that's not the only reason. I'm making money in 15 different ways. I don't need to make money on my videos on YouTube. I don't need to make money on a podcast. If you're selling that and you're limiting the numbers of people that are watching you, and you do come out with a product, you're going to sell to that small group of people. But if you've got this group of people watching you, you've got a whole larger audience, and you've proven yourself as a good dude. You know, somebody that's not out there to nickel and dime.
We haven't had any sponsors for almost a year now.
You don't need them.
And I'm getting to a point where I'm like, that's where I'm at a point where it's like, okay, how do I monetize this? Because this is taking a lot of time, a lot of sacrifice. I already have another job. How do I monetize this so that I can actually keep doing it and put more into it?
You've done one of two. I mean, there's a lot of different things. There's what's called white space. You know, there's a lot of people doing podcasts. Are people doing it how you're doing it? No. I mean, when I first watched your podcast, I watched your podcast. I watched an introduction with video clips and different things, sound bites. You've got some humor. You've got a really good, calm mannerism about you and sincerity about you that not a lot of podcast people have. And I think Rogan had that. That's what people like about that. But other podcasts that I listen to, the guys are good dudes, great dudes. They don't got it on the entertainment side of it. You know, that's where you look at Solo Hunter. It's like, yeah, I'm a good dude. I'm moderately handsome. You know, chunky, can relate to people. But Remi's the stud. Remi's the sex appeal. You know? So we have a good mix of what sells. Some people may recognize him. Some may recognize me. With you, you've kind of got that. You've got a good overall presence with everything, and I think it attracts a lot of people to your podcast. I don't know how long you've been doing it. I don't know how many viewerships you have, but I would wager to bet from the reason why I like it that it's probably up there.
It's doing really well. It's rocking. It's really surprised me. I started in February, so it'll be a year here pretty soon.
Nice.
And you kind of fall into something and it clicks. And I honestly just genuinely like people and want to get to know them, and I'm really curious about them, and so I have all these little probing questions. And so
you figured out what you're good, what you like, and what you're good at, and that's what you focus on. You don't try to be what you're not.
Yeah.
You know? I'm never gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be who I am.
It's been really interesting though to like walk around and have someone go, "Hey, Brian," and come up to me like they've known me for years.
That's awesome.
And it's a little bit weird because I don't actually know them. They know me, though, because they listen to me all the time. I share my opinions on a regular basis, and so they get to know you. As you've been doing this a while and Solo Hunter's growing, how are you, like, we were talking about this a little bit offline. People come up to you, and they visit with you, and they hang out with you. I mean, how do you like that?
I like it. But it goes against my personality. Like, I'm not an out there personality. You see me at home. You know, it's a silver Chevy driving down the road. It's like silver Chevy. You know, there's not a decal. Like, I'm not a flashy, want to be out in front of everybody kind of person. A person would lie to you if they said that it didn't feel good occasionally. You know, to have that. I'm one that I can't forget a face. If I've met someone in person. Mm-hmm. It'll kill me to not remember where I talked to that person because the conversations that I've had mean a lot to me. When someone comes up to me and shakes my hand and pats me on the back and says, "Man, you really represent hunting well. I love what you're doing." Like, it's not just me saying thank you. Like, seriously, that hits me right here, and it means a lot to me to do that because, honestly, I feel like I'm just an amateur out there just filming hunts and just hunting.
Yeah.
But we've created something.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what do you think? Why do you think Solo Hunter's been successful? What is it that? Because I have my opinion, but I'm curious. What do you think? I
want to know your opinion. What I think. It's not me and it's not Remi. I think it's the way we do it. I think it's the fact that there's no recreates. There's no. I think
it's so raw,
if
dude.
you looked at all the guys that are out there hunting, everybody in this building at one time or another has hunted by themselves. The cameras, the camera part of it was secondary. I was blown away at how big of a response we would get from people that want to film their hunts. I thought we would relate more to people that just hunt by themselves.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that's where we were going to grow, but we grew on both sides of it. And now it's the brand. It's like, I don't know where it's going to go.
This year, I've been, the last year or so, you inspired me to embrace the GoPro. I had been like, I had seen you guys use it for so long, and I'm like, they got some cool stuff. Like,
it's hard to master that little bugger.
It is, and I'm like, because I just put it in my bag and never used it because I'm like, this thing sucks. Yeah. I mean, it's not good for anything. And then I saw how you guys incorporated it into the show. It's not like the whole thing's not filmed with a GoPro, but when you do incorporate it, I'm like, especially because I'm by myself a lot or I'm with my buddies, I would come back from a hunt, put a film together, and my wife goes, you're in like 30 seconds of this film. I mean, I can hear your voice, but you're like not in the movie at all. I'm like, because I'm filming.
Same thing when you go on vacation and you take a picture of this awesome ocean scene, the sunset's killer and everything. It's just a picture of the sunset. Yeah. But if you put you and your wife and kids or whatever in there, then
it takes
that
on
means
more
something.
Different meaning.
Exactly.
And when I see you filming the elk, and if you self-filmed it and you shot it, I want to see you shooting it. I want to see that angle as well. Right. Well, then you got it mounted to the arm on your tripod, and you got it in. You flip it up, and you're using it mounted on your
trade secret. Can't tell.
Yeah, whatever you've got. I'm watching. I'm like, this is cool stuff.
Well, it's like I wanted to. The year that I started that, I really wanted to show the cameras because Campbell Cameras at the time was a big backer, before they kind of slowed down and decided to go away for some reason. So I wanted to show the setup, and I had people calling me out saying, there's no way in hell you're filming your own hunts, man. So you slap that GoPro on there with that 180-degree view, it's like everybody knows you're out there by yourself, So the GoPro really, and I don't have an endorsement deal with GoPro. I should. The bastard's better, But it's like the GoPro made the show, even though we're only using it 10% of the time.
Yeah.
It made that. And now I've kind of, this last year, I struggled with some of my filming because I didn't really want to show the cameras as much as just the atmosphere and the environment. But that was really the only way to show the Hntr and everything.
I'm watching your show for the entertainment, but I also on how you create it, like, the shots that you get by yourself and some of that stuff. I'm like, dude, he set that camera up, walked to it, and then
that's the part.
Walk back down and walk back up.
Yeah, that's the part that I hate. Is it's like you're faking it. It's
to an extent,
but to put together a cohesive that somebody watches and just doesn't think.
Well, I know you did it, but at the same time, I'm like. I look at it and I'm like, you still climb that hill.
Yeah.
And I wanted to see that. Yeah. I still wanted to see it. It doesn't make it any less real that you climb the hill. You know what I mean?
Twice.
So for me, twice. Let's keep that in mind. Yeah. It doesn't affect me at all.
Really?
So I look at it and I really enjoy it. Now, getting kill shots on film, dude, that is bad to the bone. When you can do that solo, I don't know how you guys do it.
Like sometimes it happens and it's like, but it doesn't happen all the time. Guys that watch the show know it doesn't happen all the time. This year it got me. Like I told myself this year, I was like, I'm not killing anything that I'm not stoked about. I'm not killing anything for the sake of the camera, and I never have. And I can't say I have killed something for the sake of getting an episode, and it's not a good feeling and not a good place to be. So I told myself this year, I'm not killing anything if I don't want to kill it, you know? Whether it's a 2-point or a giant, and I'm also not killing anything off film,
Yeah.
So I put those two things against me, and you guys are going to see this year the internal battle that I had with myself.
Yeah.
But I feel like I got the best footage I've ever gotten. So
I'll tell you. Back to my other question. I'll tell you why I think the show.
That's what I was just going to ask you. I want to know why. Yeah.
So, it's. I think it's beautifully filmed, but I'll watch a show. The actual encounter with the elk or the deer is not that long sometimes. Yet I feel like I went hunting with you. I went on a hunting trip, and especially like right now, man, I just want to go on an adventure. And when I go on that adventure with you, it's honest, it's raw, it's real. It's like the same adventure I would have. It's not something that is that I don't relate to, or that's got all this flashy music and it's going back and forth with,
cutaways. And all
yeah,
kinds of stuff.
it's pretty just raw. And for me, that just has a lot more meaning.
So
more
what
value
is
to
it?
me.
What is it that makes you feel like you go on? Because you can watch a hunt, somebody else's show or somebody else's hunt. What is it about the way? Is it about the way we do it, or different things that makes you feel like you're there?
Okay, for me, if I go out and watch a guy go out and hunt a mule deer, shoot it with his bow, that's great. I've seen 1 million of those. I see a guy will go out and shoot an elk. It's kind of like horn porn. You get excited about it. Yeah, every hunter kind of likes the shot, the moment, the stock, whatever. But I don't. There's no meaning behind it for me. I don't know the guy. I don't feel like I know who he is. I don't have any context for what he did. But with you, as I watch week after week, we get to see your son. We get to see you, out, talking about things that are more than just the hunt. We get to know you as a person when the hunt's hard, or where you grew up, or you're back in some stomping ground you've been in the past. And when you start sharing that stuff that's personal to me, then there's a context, and I start to have more meaning in the film, in the show, because I feel like I know you, and now when you shoot something, I get to go like my buddy Tim shot something.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's some stranger, I'm like, where I don't really feel it. Plus, some of the other shows, sometimes I feel like you hunted that on a ranch. There was all these other people helped you do it. You're pretty much guaranteed success. It doesn't have the same victory. When you and Remi are like, I'm just going to grab my camera and go, and I'm going to hit this hill, and I'm going to go out and hunt. That, again, to me there's just accomplishment behind that has more value than, not to knock the other ones, it's just they don't have as much meaning for me.
Yeah, it's like,
See,
I don't feel like
rambling
people No, it's all the things that we all want to say, but nobody wants to say kind of thing. No, it makes me really appreciate it, because when you talk about the family and the personal things and that, some of those things are hard to share. Nobody. I feel like a lot of people in the industry, there's the whole badass thing. Nobody wants to show
weakness.
But if you can show vulnerability, to me, that's strength. Like, if you can show people who you really are as a person, and can be that person, whether I'm sitting here with you, or be that person at church, or be that person at your son's, piano recital, or if you can be the exact same person everywhere you go, to me, that's strength.
Yeah.
If you have to be somebody different because you're in front of the camera, or because you're, meeting new people and new fans at a trade show booth, who you fooling? You're not doing anybody any favors. What
was the hardest season you've had doing solo hunter? And where you're like, I think I might want to quit?
I've never thought
that.
No,
never.
Because I'm so grateful for what we've built, and what it's become. Because even from its very existence, everything has been meant. I hate to use meant to be. Things have just happened to where it's. I feel very grateful to be in the lifestyle that I'm in, and it's a lot of hard work. It's not just. In fact, none of it's just fun and games. It's all hard work, But
this sounded kind of a cliche question, but
I'll give you a cliche answer.
No, go deeper. If you were going to go back and change something, what would you do different?
A lot of people, you hear a lot of people saying no regrets. I live my life with no regrets.
Yeah, that's what I didn't want to hear.
Yeah, I have a lot of regrets. I think I did a podcast a couple years ago, or an interview or something, and somebody asked me if I had any regrets, and I said no. That's not true. My life is full of a lot of regrets and things that I would like to do differently. As far as solo hunter goes, I've lost friends over decisions that I've made that had to be made for the growth of the company.
Yeah.
I've made friends over decisions I've made that benefit the growth of the company, but ultimately every decision I make comes down to, is this going to benefit my family, and affect my family? And you can't live your life trying to make everybody happy. But
have you struggled like I know like Gritty Bowmen, as it's been growing, I have relationships that are stronger with some people and some that have sort of faded a little bit.
Yeah, and things happen.
It's a whirlwind.
Yeah,
you get busy and you're into this, like you're into this brand. I'm into my brand, and it's like it's your baby.
Yeah, and you own it.
Yeah,
but you also own the debt behind. Well, whether there's debt
the cost,
or not, but you own the obligations. In my case, we're talking deep six figures. With the networks and that. There's nobody on the hook for those contracts but me.
That's it.
So you got a lot of stress involved with that, and you've got a wife and kids at home that are hoping that a paycheck comes through.
Yeah.
And so when those decisions are made, I'm not making that decision so that I don't hurt Brian Call's feelings. I'm making that decision so that I make sure a check comes home for Mama.
Right. To be ultimately successful, you can't just be a good hunter or filmmaker
or not about
showmaker.
Hunting. Not about filmmaking.
The business side matters. And those don't always, they don't come together.
No.
Like I'm a little freaked out because the business side is like this part's fun. The business side though is a more like that has to be there to be long term, to be successful.
You will get to a point, and I've got there, not too long ago, to where it can't be all about Brian Call. You cannot do everything. You're going to have to. You'll get to the point where if you either want to grow your brand or become a brand and do whatever you want to do aside from just creating content.
Yeah.
You're going to have to involve other people, whether that's on a partnership level or whatever. That's however you. But there's going to be other people around you and with you, and so that's where you take the relationships that you make with sponsors or with people around you. Mountain Ops here, obviously you're in here. You take those relationships and you glean from those relationships what will benefit you and him mutually, and then you utilize those resources combined to grow your brand and become more than just Brian Call. So now all of a sudden you got people that understand web development and branding. You've got you that understands content. You got so and so that understands marketing and sales. You have no ownership.
That's a little
whatsoever.
Scary, like letting go.
Oh, believe me,
handing it over to someone else, saying, "I trust you." My sister's 100%. Huge. She does.
I remember you talking about her on a podcast with Snyder. Or something.
She does. She's been a huge fan for one. Which I send her something and I say, "Hey, sister, check this out and let me know what you think." And she's like, when she says, "I love it. It was great." It's just such. It's really encouraged. She's an inspiring person for me. And then she has really helped with all the editing. But it was really hard to hand it over. But it just got to a point where I either had to or I was just going to die.
I've gone through 3 editors in the last 2 years, a year and a half. Not for solo. I do most of the editing for solo. And this last year, I actually contracted out some of the editing for some of the episodes. But it's like, it's so hard to give that up to somebody else because it has you behind it. It has your brand and you.
When I'm promoting, when I'm putting a film together, I want it to be, Gritty Bowmen, Brian Call's film, right?
But that's part of who you are, and that's part of, to me, like if I would have started with someone else editing the show back in the day, it wouldn't have been all what I wanted.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have been all my heart and soul. With you doing everything behind it, it becomes everything you, and that becomes brand building. When you talk about, the Gritty Bowmen, with whoever, like there's catchphrases and there's certain way things are done that people are attracted to outside of the name. And so that becomes all a part of your package.
Yeah. So building a brand, like what kind of advice do you have for people on building a brand opposed to building a TV show? What's the difference?
Brand basically is a product and something recognizable, that people recognize. And the TV show helps immensely with that, just from the massive amounts of eyeballs. But it's like the TV show is of no value to me whatsoever. Like if I were to want to do something else. I can't sell the TV show because the TV show's me and Remi, and then advertisers, dollars, and everything else. If I'm not there, advertisers, I guarantee, Under Armour, Kafaru, these companies are not going to write checks for somebody else that has the Solo Hunter name. I guarantee it. So I've got to build something around that if I ever do want to sell or hand over to my son or actually generate some wealth. I mean, ultimately, you can make a living, but if you want to generate some wealth or some backing, you've got to have more than just a sponsor's check.
I look at it like this. There are a lot of podcasts out there.
Yeah.
But hunting, non-hunting, and people have different goals. I don't want to just have a podcast, though. I want to have a brand. I want to have a whole feel around Gritty Bowmen that boils down from films and videos we put out to our Instagram and Facebook and social media platforms, and I mean just the whole gritty feel to it. And that all comes down to that whole brand thing. So the podcast is just part of it, but I want it to have a whole feel. And like Solo Hunter, that's where I'm like a Solo Hunter hat all the way. Because there's a brand feeling associated with it
that you can associate with at an individual level. Individuals, they're like, not everybody's a team wants to be part of a team. A lot of guys, I think, want to be themselves. They want to just be. So to me, the Solo Hunter is, and it took me a couple of years to realize that I could actually have something besides a TV show because of the name. You saw the name go from Solo Hunters to Solo Hunter. And then now this year with a rebrand and a relook, and next year a lot more things to come. Like, it's taken me time, but I'm 100% self-funded. I'm not a guy that has wanted to go out and go into a bunch of debt to really just build a brand,
make it happen.
Because I could have done that, but
some risk there.
It wasn't what I wanted to have. It wouldn't have been me. It wouldn't have been what I wanted.
What has been some of the most rewarding relationships, partners you've had in the hunting industry since you've done this?
I think probably the most rewarding for me, just because of the backstory behind it and the sheer amount of time that it took to establish that relationship, is Under Armour.
Oh yeah,
they're a company that, early on when I started, I was going down any contact that I had made or through a friend. So I was wearing Sitka and I was wearing all these different things, right. but several years ago I was like, all right, I'm looking at what Under Armour's doing from a business perspective and their growth we're talking 5 years ago now. So this is before they
are
blew
just
up.
Crushing it, yeah.
So I just made a decision at that point. I says, I'm going to do nothing but approach Under Armour. So I just went through the modes of contacts. I remember my first meeting with Kobe and Christy, and we were talking about, just chit-chatting, and I'm like, I like to golf and these things. And he's like, honestly, you probably have a better chance of getting a sponsorship through us as a professional golfer than with your hunting show. And I'm like, oh, thanks, appreciate it. So
yes, trying to help you out.
Yeah, so a couple years go by, and I'm setting a meeting with him every year at ATA or SHOT Show. Meeting with him, he's like, no, there's really nothing we can do. We like your show personally, but we're a business. We need to. So developed a relationship, and then it was a couple of years ago. I was going out on a hunt, and I was like, you know what, I'm done. And I was packing my bags. I ended up getting a bunch of free stuff from another company.
Yeah.
My wife's like, that's not Under Armour. Like, I know, I'm just not getting anywhere with them. She's like, you can't give up on that now. And so I was literally leaving on the hunt, and I actually sold all my Under Armour on eBay. So I stopped at Shields on the way out of town and bought a shirt and a pair of pants, Under Armour pants. Went out on that hunt, killed an awesome buck on film and stuff. As I'm driving back from the hunt, Kobe calls me and says, hey, we've had some things happen. We'd like to sponsor your show. He's like, I need a thumb. He's like, I've only got X numbers of dollars. I need a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And I was like, that's twice as much as I was thinking. I'm like, thumbs up, buddy. So from then on, it's like they just. Yeah. I feel like Kobe believed in me from the beginning and never threw promises, never lied to me. They just and they've been such a great partner. You know? So that's a long story on who's been the most fulfilling, I guess.
I like that. What's in the future? Anything coming up you can share, or just tease people?
No teases, nothing special. I'm gonna launch some more products. I'm gonna continue down the apparel line, and grow some of that. I'm working on with a brand manager now. You know, it's not just me. I've done pretty good with some of the imagery and those types of things, but I had a guy redevelop the logo and help me with a few things. And I've just realized I need help with things. So I'm working with a brand manager. I've got somebody covering all my shipping and all that kind of stuff now. Producing other content for sponsors. So I've got a full-time producer on staff. I mean, just really trying to grow into something more than just a one-man show. And it's comforting. It really is. It's hard to give that up a lot of ways, but it's been comforting. So
I think if you get good people, then it's such a good move.
I think it's going to free me up on the business side to really develop the business. And in turn, I think that's going to give me more flexibility to create better entertainment. You know, just have more fun on the hunts. Because honestly, the hunting hasn't been fun the last couple of years. It's been a lot of work. So
that's one thing too. Is when hunting's like your favorite thing to do. Now you've put pressure on it because it's part of your livelihood. That can really make hunting not fun anymore.
Yeah. Fortunately for me, hunting has never been my favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
You know, I've had a lot of hobbies and I'm good at a lot of different things, but I'm not great at one thing, you know.
Yeah.
So for me, it's like I love the business end of it and launching a new product and coming out with new things just as much as the hunting.
I don't picture Remi like that, though.
Oh, hell no.
I don't.
No.
So I picture him like, gosh, just want to be in the freaking woods.
He is he'll surprise you. The dude, like, somebody asked me what's the best word to describe him. I'm like, impressive. He's just, he figures things, like he's an impressive dude. Like, you'd be surprised. He's all about hunting and killing, but
he's a curious, smart dude.
Yeah, he's one of those that you don't know him until you know him.
Yeah.
You know, good dude.
That's cool.
So super excited to see his show take off. And
I've seen that. I love. There's a few I liked. I like the wolf one where he chased down the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I like the octopus. Not octopus. Octopus.
I kind of like the crane one. I've heard a lot of people talk crap about the crane one. I kind of like this.
Yeah, that was cool. Tell me this. Like, first, tell me what episodes of Solo Hunter, like name a couple, okay, have been your personal favorites that for you stand out above the rest. And then tell me what the fans seem to think were some of the best episodes.
Good question. Favorite episode, hands down, was one that aired not this last season, but the season before. I think so, season 5. Elk hunt in Nevada. I drew a limited draw elk tag and everything. Hunted my brains out for 2 weeks. Really nothing special happened. I saw some good bulls. Really didn't make a play on anything. And then I went home for a week and ended up, I think I got sick or something. Yeah. So I went home for a week. Ended up spending some time with my boy, and my boy really needed some dad time, and he was 9 at the time. So I brought him back out with me. There's 2 days left in the hunt. I'm like, I'm not going to kill an elk. And in Nevada, if you don't kill an elk, you got to wait 5 years before you can put in again. Mm-hmm. If you do kill one, you got to wait 10. So this is it's in my mind, it's a big commitment.
Yeah.
To just take a 9-year-old with me.
Totally.
So we went out, we go heading up on the mountain, and as we're hiking up this ridge, here comes a side-by-side, just flies right by us. No road or nothing, just right past us on this ridge. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So I'm like, I'm going to give this guy a piece of my mind. So once we got up to the top, those guys were up there getting all their gear out and everything. And it ended up that it was professional pitcher, ex-pitcher Kevin Brown and his guide there. And he just took my son under his arm, and it was like, because he could tell my son was just like, enamored. It was all of a sudden, I'm not hunting with Dad anymore. I'm hunting with Kevin.
Yeah.
So he took him under his arm for the majority of the day, and I just sat back as a cameraman and watched that. And I had so many emotions up and down. Like there's these big bulls everywhere that we're watching, but just watching my son interact with some, it was
someone
awesome.
He was excited to see you meet. And I saw that one. I like that one.
It was good.
That's one of my favorites.
A lot of pieces to that episode that happened. So
I thought you did a great job. Just what you just said, sharing why that mattered. Because, you're out there, you didn't kill an elk, but you're up there with your son, but you explained how bringing him along wasn't that easy.
That was the same episode. I forgot. It was the same episode that the week before my satellite phone wouldn't work. So I hiked in 7 miles up to the top of this peak. I had to turn around and go out because my wife would have freaked out.
That's right.
And so I drove all the way out. And
lightning. Wasn't there lightning on that one? I don't remember.
Not. That was more just a self. So it was just,
that's a deal you made with her, right?
That was just a whole package.
Like you will be able to.
That was a deal
call
she
her.
made with me. I would like to go out sometimes for a week with just totally unplugged, you know, and just not. But it's cool to hear the kids' voices. And,
well, and I think when you're out there hunting as much as some of us are able to, that's a lot of time away from family.
Yeah. So this year I was home every weekend. You know, I put 20-some
cool.
thousand miles on my truck between August and now. You know, it's a commitment I made, and it affects your hunting. You're not as good of a hunter when you've got to do that, but you're a better father.
Tell me this. So which one, what show have the fans been really particular to?
That one got a pile of response. We get good response from mostly, I think, the stateside hunts I think that people can relate to or do.
Yeah.
Remi got great response off of a mule deer episode that he did. He killed with a longbow.
Yeah, that was a cool one.
Yeah. And so
some of the New Zealand stuff's cool.
Yeah. We get, I mean, that's our international audience. I don't think people realize how big of an international fan base there can be. You know, we ship almost just as much product overseas as we do here in the United States.
Yeah, we're kind of egocentric, like ethnocentric. We kind of focus on what we're here, and I'm getting people like all over Australia.
I love
like,
my Aussies and Canadians.
They're like big fans of Gritty Bowmen. We get a lot of Europeans too, and it's like, that's neat.
Yeah,
so we got some Scottish fans since we got our Scottish.
That's what I was going to tell you is like you were talking about brands and everything. You have the name behind it. I feel like you're a good personality behind it to do something. You can build a brand off of Gritty Bowmen. I guarantee it. You know?
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. You should be sitting here with a Gritty Bowmen hat instead of a mount.
Dude, tell me about it. I'm working on that, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm so bad about pushing my own stuff. And for a while there, I was like, I don't want a hat and a T-shirt for something that doesn't have that hasn't earned it.
How many of you guys out there listening to this, raise your hands. How many of you guys would wear a Gritty Bowmen T-shirt and hat?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting requests all the time. And so it's like, now, though, I'm excited to make some for that reason.
Yeah.
But in the beginning, like, one of the things that, I'll ask you about this, I'm not upset with someone who throws on a hat, shows up, hasn't really done anything. It's like, I'm starting a new brand, right? They got hats and T-shirts before they even have a product, before they've even filmed a thing.
That's meaningless. You might as well wear a newspaper on your head.
And that's where I'm super sensitive to that.
Sure.
So I really wanted to get something first, and then it just came down to I'm just slow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just you.
It's just me. It's me running the whole thing by myself. But it's starting to ramp up. So
good.
I'm excited about that. So on where can people connect with you who have never seen your stuff?
YouTube's the best place. If you want to see what Solo Hunter is all about, Google it or just go to youtube.com/Solo Hunter, all spelled out. I know it's confusing now with the logo being, shortened up in that, but if you Google Solo Hunter, you ain't gonna miss it.
Yeah.
But YouTube is where to see all the videos. We've got everything also on our website during the broadcast season on Outdoor Channel from the third and fourth quarter. So it's like basically the end of June through Christmas. You'll catch us on the Outdoor Channel 3 times a week. But now we're in the off season. Basically, that's where we're at. Instagram at Solo Hunter.
Okay. How did you connect with Mountain Ops?
They wanted me.
They did.
Yeah,
they're like that.
No,
they're stalkers.
Jordan told me, he's like, well, no, I saw him on social media. Obviously, there's social media brilliance. You know? So I see it on social media, and I like the branding and everything. And I thought, this could be a company I should watch.
Fit.
Yeah, I should watch it. See what they do. And so after a month or so, I actually placed an order. And Jordan said, he's like, when your order came, he's like, guys, Tim Burnett just ordered some Mountain Ops. And I'm like, whatever, you're full of crap.
Dude, I think for them, we don't realize, I met Casey at the Northwest Sportsman Show 1 year ago.
Yeah.
And at the time, nobody had a T-shirt on or anything. And it was it hasn't been there that long. Yeah. So, where they're at right now compared to where they were, even 10 months ago, it's a big change. So they're absolutely excited when they get, especially in the beginning, anybody that came on that actually, you celebrate those little little growth moments, for you to recognize there's stuff that had to be like,
well,
yes.
no, it's like I'm a no, but like you look around the booth now and look at who you've done podcasts with and everything. It's like these are people that want to be associated with Mountain Ops. Why do they want to be associated with them? Because they don't know them personally. We know them personally now, so we know there's more to being associated with them than just the branding and the product. But they look at it and they say, that's something I want to be a part of, whether they have motives of getting $1 out of them or not. They want to be. And so you look around here, you got Brandon Bates. I mean, you got all these people standing around that want it. It's because of their branding. Yeah. And so once people get past the branding and realize there's more to it than that, then they want to be involved even more. Yeah. So it's from where they've come in the last year and a half, not even a year and a half.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. And they're lucky to put.
I know. We've had your sucker here. Your beautiful face back here. I have people tell me I look like you often.
I'll take that as a compliment.
Often. Yeah. I was up at the Northwest Mountain Challenge and somebody's like, Tim Burnett, I'm like,
no, he's shorter, fatter.
I'm Brian Call. But I've had a few people say that, so it must be the white inside the.
Now we're going to come away from this and people are going to be like, Brian Call. No, you're Tim Burnett. Whatever.
That's right. Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on and hanging out.
Yeah, I'm glad to have been able to do it. I listened to your podcast a month or so ago with Aaron Schneider. And Aaron and I have been, good friends for quite a while, and I was like, I'm going to call. Maybe I want to try to get on that podcast because I really like his style and everything. So
he's a fun guy.
Yeah.
Well, keep what you're doing, man.
Thank you.
Stay gritty.
As long as we're alive.
Okay, gritty friends. I hope you enjoyed that podcast. If you did, please take a moment to leave us a review on iTunes, Podbean, or Stitcher. We love reading your reviews. And connect with us on social media if you're on there. Look us up on Facebook and Instagram. And take a moment to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can receive notifications when we upload new videos. We've got a sweet deal with Mountain Ops. You get 20% off on all Mountain Ops supplements, combo packs, and apparel when you type in the word gritty at checkout. If you're a hardcore elk hunter or you want to be, go to the Elk 101 website online and check them out. Our friend Corey Jacobson is killing it with some of the best elk hunting information and entertainment on the web. If you haven't heard, we're doing a huge gear giveaway to try and grow and expand the gritty community on Facebook and Instagram. I asked a bunch of friends to pitch in on this gear giveaway, and they all came through with some awesome stuff. Our friends at Kifaru, Rockslide, First Light, Phelps Game Calls, One Shot Gear, Mountain Ops, XXX Archery, Blacktail Outdoors, and Is It September Yet are pitching in some sweet gear for the giveaway. We'll announce all the details in the next few weeks. All you have to do to be entered to win is like our Gritty Bowmen Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. All right, friends, let me leave you with one other quote from Theodore Roosevelt, who said, "It behooves every man to remember that the work of the critic is of altogether secondary importance, and that, in the end, progress is accomplished by the man who does things." We all have a choice. We can be people who do things or people who criticize the work of others. It's pretty simple, really. Get out there and do your thing. Good luck on your hunts and stay gritty.
This is Ty Stubblefield, and you're listening to the Gritty Bowmen.
Gritty Bowmen.